Hi guys, it's Katie here from Creativa again, and I would like to do another video. So we have started making another album from the Broderie SVG files, and we've done the cover and the binding, and we have inserted the pages. And so I would like to start doing the pages in this album. So what I'll do is I'll get started and then we can chat about things while we are creating. So I'm hoping to get a couple of pages done today. Let's see how we go. Let's start with the pieces for the first page. So Broderie SVG files are a set of 30 digital SVG files that you can use to make a mini album from start to finish, including the cover and the spine. And I have put together this little book that shows you all the pieces that come with it. The blue pieces are the actual elements themselves, and the pink pieces are the mats that go to each of those pieces. So there's pockets and doors and accordion envelopes, corner pockets, frames, you name it. But the album that we're making now is sort of like the plain version. We're not doing any of the fancy lacy edges that some of these pieces have. So we'd already made an album, this one here, and this one has got all the fancy lacy edges and such in it, the fancy doors, lots of lacy bits. But I wanted to show you that you can still make an album using these SVG files, and it doesn't have to be this frilly and girly and flouncy with all these pretty edges and things. So that's what our intention is. So I'll put that one to the side. So this is the paper line that I'm using. It's a 6.5 inch paper pad from Creativa. So I can make this album in the size that the SVG files come in, with a 6.5 inch paper pad. And well, with probably use two, and I'll probably also use some other paper. But what I mean is the size that it comes in is a 7 inch by 7 inch album with a 3 inch spine. But these 6.5 inch pages can easily mat, or the paper can easily mat the pages. So and I'll show you. This is our page. It's and this is a 6.5 inch piece of paper, so you can see that a 6 inch piece of paper will cover that base page. So I'm using this one. It's very neutral, and then I'm using this craft cardstock from Recollections. It's £65 or 176 GSM. So that's what I'm using for all the pages and all the flips and pockets and things like that. And then I'm matting it with this one here. So let's just put this one to the side. This is the cover that we made in the last video, which was kind of humorous because nothing went right, but you know, these things happen. Alright, so onwards to our pieces that we need for the first page. So I always start with a base page mat, C2 mat. So that's this one here. I've already cut it out on my Cricut. I don't know, did I say? SVG files are scalable vector graphic files, and you can use those with electronic cutting machines like Cricut, Silhouettes, Brothers Scan and Cuts, and those sorts of things. I personally use a Cricut. So anyway, my Cricut does all the cutting and all the scoring and all the measuring for me. I just cut the pieces out, or I just tell the Cricut which pieces to cut out, and then I put it together. So, okay, so C2, I have one of these C2 mats, and then I have cut out one D2 piece, that's this one here, and the mats for that is D5, and I have cut out two of those for mats, so that's those ones there. I've also cut out one D3 piece, and that's this one, oops, all attached. This pocket here, D3, goes that way. And I have also cut out two of the D6 mats to go with that, and that's those two just there with a paper clip stuck to it. Okay, and then I have cut out one E2 piece, and that's this one here. It looks like that. And then I have cut out the 2 mats that go with that. That's those 2 there, and that's E6, so 2 E6s. And then the last piece that I've cut out is the plain belly band, which is J3. That's that one there. And then the mat for that, which is J12, and that's that one there. So that's all we need for the first page. So I'll put that aside and we can start putting things together. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll start by cutting off some of the bits and pieces that we don't need. So I'll put all the mats to the side, try and keep them, try and have some organisation, but you know how these things go. Right, so this one comes with 4 tabs all the way around, and the reason for that is that if I give you the 4 tabs when you cut it out, it gives you lots of options of what you can do with this one piece. In this instance, I just want it to be a side flip, so I'm keeping this tab here, which you can see I've already inked, but I'm going to cut these 3 off there. So I'll put little crosses on them to remind me to cut those ones off, because I get talking and then I forget. D3 is a pocket, but we're going to use it as a flip, and we're going to flip it from this side as well. So we're going to cut those 2 tabs off that one. And E2 is also a pocket, but we're going to cut these 2 tabs off, and it's also going to be a flip. So this is all the cutting that I need to do, and it's only because I want to use the pieces differently than how they were designed. So I'm just going to get out my cutting board thing here, and I'm just lining up that score line which my Cricut has put on there for me. And just line that up, and then I can just trim it off. If I could just see. So this is all the cutting I need to do. And line that one up and trim that one up. And those little tabs are just rubbish. So there's one of our little flips ready to go. And then this one here. I'll do the same thing. Trim those little tabs off. I think I might use my corner rounder and round the corners on these as well. I think that'll be nice. So I'm just going to trim those off. Lining up, and the last one, trim that one off. Okay, so our 3 pockets just became flips, so I can put this one to the side, and I'm just going to get out my mat that I use so that I don't get glue everywhere, because if you've watched any of my videos, you'll know that I am messy. I prefer to use wet glue, but I do get messy. Right, so I've got my corner rounder. So I'm going to round the corners on all of these, and that one, and this one, and then we can just quickly ink up around the edges. I'm using this VersaFine vintage sepia because it's what I have. It's a sad looking stamp pad now, but I might need to get a new one. But I find that this VersaFine ink goes a lot further on this craft cardstock than one of the Tim Holtz Distress inks. That's just my personal opinion. You use whatever you have and whatever you've got, and you know, in whatever colour. So I'm doing both sides because they're flips. I often forget to do that. And I prefer to cut the tabs off and then ink them rather than folding something that I'm then going to cut off, because I just think you get a much cleaner line if you haven't folded it before you cut it off. But again, that's just, you know, how I work. You do you. So it's pretty warm here again today. I'm in Perth in Western Australia, and it's summer here. I've got the aircon on, so I hope that's not making too much noise in the background. Okay, so that should be the last one. It's just about time to get a new stamp pad. Okay, so what I thought I wanted to do was to have, where's my bone folder? I want to put these on top of, stack these on top of each other, so they're kind of like little flips like this. That's my plan, right? So these two are the same height, so I think we can just straight away stick those together. So I'm using Helmer's Tiger Grip glue. I'm really enjoying it. I've just put some in this little bottle here in the hopes that this smaller tip will prevent me from using as much glue as I use because I always end up with it everywhere. So I'm going to attach the D3 to the D2 piece by this little tab here and line up those two sides. So it will be like a little flippy book kind of thing. I'm happy with that. I'm just, if they don't line up very well, it's probably because I haven't done a very good job of trimming the tabs off. But you know, we can fix that later. So we've got those two. See, I feel like this one's poking out a mile here, and so I have not trimmed that very well at the top there. Well done, Katie. Might trim it. Might just find my pencil and trim it, because I won't be happy until I do. So I'm just going to draw a line across there. I'll get out my scissors. So this is just my lining up skills, not flash. Neither am I cutting in a straight line with scissors skills. But we'll give it a go. I might need to do that little corner again. Okay. Yeah, that's better. So that lines up a lot better now. Just ink that up again. Okay, and then I'm going to attach both of those to this one here, and I'm just going to eyeball it. It doesn't matter. I was sort of thinking I would center it, or should I put it down? No, I feel like I want to center it. So I might just draw a line here so that when I go to stick it on again, I don't suffer from the indecision of trying to decide where it is. Okay, so I'm going to pop this down on here. Press that down. See, I got glue everywhere. But I always have this rag on hand to sort that out. I might just flip it over and finish it from this side as well. And then we'll just have this little little flip, and I have this eraser here, which is, I don't know, 300 years old. It's a Papermate eraser, and I don't even know if they make them anymore, because I'm pretty sure I can't get a refill for this. So you know, you just push this down and it comes out like a pencil. I'll just get rid of my little marks there. Okay, so then we can just map that. That's pretty easy. That's why I was thinking we could probably do a couple of pages today, because I'm not doing anything too crazy and out there. So here's all our mats. I've got to decide where they're all going to go. So those are the ones for the second one. So if I have that one like that, and then that one like that, and then maybe that one. That would be nice, I think. Or that one. I think maybe that one. All right, that's what I'm going to put on the front. Now, because I've rounded the edges of that one, I've got little bits flying everywhere. Look at that. I need to empty that one. Yes, I'm just going to round the edges on my mats. So that one's going to go there. Then I'm going to have this one next. And then I'm going to have this one last. And I'll just ink that edge up and I can just pop that one straight down on here. So just glue it. Now, if you were worried about this staying closed, you could just pop a little magnet on, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm trying to get away from using so many magnets because number one, they're quite hard to come by. I have to order them online, and also they're not necessarily terribly cheap. So I'm trying to be creative in ways that I'm closing things up or holding things down. And I would never underestimate the power of a Velcro dot, which are cheaper. You can pop them on afterwards if you find that you need them. And okay, so they're easy for me to find. I can put them on afterwards, and they're cheap. They're cheap, cheap, cheap. Okay, and then this one. So at the front of my albums, I nearly always put my little fancy doors, but I'm trying to do something different. It's hard. I love my doors. These ones here. So I usually start every album with these beautiful little doors. Aren't they gorgeous? Okay, but I'm trying not to. I'm trying to do something different. So we're just going to have this little flip, and then we can put a little embellishment or something like that. So then I'm just going to mat the other side. So this is non-directional, so I don't need to be too worried about that. And this one's non-directional, so I can do any corner on that. And this one's non-directional. I can have anywhere there. Swap those corners out. And then we can just pop those down as well, which we shall do. I'm liking this little glue bottle. I don't know where I got it from. I know I've had it a long time. It's been sitting there and I didn't use it because it had a glue in it I didn't like, but I've replaced it and it's got a new life. And this one. Yeah, it's definitely stopping me from using quite so much glue. Pop that one down. A little bit oozing out there. And then this last one on the back. So these pages are really easy, and because the pieces have already been measured and everything, I don't have to measure anything. I don't have to score anything. I don't have to cut anything, which is good because straight line cutting and I don't get along. I do that thing where I trim it and it's not quite right, so then I take a little bit off, but then that's not quite right, and before you know it, you're left with this little wispy piece of paper. Okay, so this is going to go in our album just like that. So let's bring out our album and open her up. And it's just going to go on this first page here at this fold line here, like that. That's my plan. Okay, so let's do it. Yes, let's just do it. And pop her down. Line her up and pop her down just like so, and then I'll just flip it over and look, I got glue there. What a surprise! Make sure that's really well pressed down. Bone fold, come back, push that down. And we have our first little flip, and I like how it's sort of different sizes, so that's cool. And then all we need to do is put a mat on here, which is this one here that I've already inked around. And then the only other thing was I was going to put a belly band on down the middle here as well. So I think we can just stick that on top. So let's just pop this one down. So easy, first page. No, stick it down. Okay. And then I'm just going to find my pencil again and a ruler. Do I have a ruler somewhere? I've cleaned up. You know what happens when you clean up. You can't find anything. Here we go. So I think I would like my belly band to be in the centre. So my page is roughly 15 centimetres, which is roughly 6 inches. In fact, it's perfectly 6 inches. So at 3 centimetres, I'm just going to put a little mark. 3 inches, did I say centimetres or inches? Okay. And then my little tiny weeny little fella here is 1 inch. So if I put a little mark at the halfway point on each one of those edges, sides, then I can just put the tabs on. Now you could have put this down first and then slid this mat underneath it, but you can't really see these tabs, so I'm just going to live with that and line that up there, line that up there somewhere, like so. Just push it down, get a bone folder and get a good bunch. Lovely. Now I'll just get rid of my little marks on there and there. Put a little bit of extra ink on there and put down my mat. And that's that page done. And we've got plenty of little spots to, we could attach photos or whatever we want to straight to the little flips, or we could use a piece of ephemera and make them into little tucks. So I really went to town on that glue. And then we have this big page here where we can put in some big photo mats or photos. Okay, so I'll just make sure that that's going to open up there and there. Push it down. There we go, that's our first page, all done. It looks pretty simple. Well, it was pretty simple, but you know, once you embellish it and do whatever it is that you want to do, put photos in, it doesn't need to be anything fancier than that. But we do have some more sort of fancier pages coming up. So let's put this aside and we can start thinking about the next page here, which is this one. So we're opening out this way, and I do like to think about that when I am putting the page together. So let's just put that to the side and we'll get out our book again and we'll look at this list of pieces that I've cut for this one. Okay, and then try and remember what my plan was. So I always start with the C2 mat, which is the mat for the base page. So I've cut that one out and inked around it, and that one's ready to go. And then I have cut out some of the D3 pieces here. I have 2 of those, I believe. This one as well. Yeah, 2 D3 pieces, so those 2. And then I've cut out 4 of the D6 mats to go with it, and that's those 2 there. And then I have cut out an E4 pocket and the E7 mat that goes on top of it, and that's those 2 here, ready to go. And then we have got an F5 pocket and the F11 mat to go on top of it. And that's that one there, ready to go. And then we have cut out the G2 piece here, which is a big pocket. And I've cut out 2 G5 mats to go with that, and that's these two, that little set there. So that's all the pieces that we need for the second page. So we can put that aside. And once again, we need to have a look and see if we need to cut any bits and pieces off these pockets. So let's start with what I've got here. This is the G2 piece, and it's a pocket with the tabs on 3 sides, but I'm going to use it as a flip, so I'm going to cut those 2 short tabs off. So that's that one. And then these 2 here are the D3s, and I'll turn around this way. They are also going to be flips. They're going to be flips from the long side, so we need to cut the 2 short tabs off both of those. So we'll do that. And we don't need to do anything to this little guy. He's just a little pocket. And we don't need to do anything to this one either. It's just a pocket. So that's nice and easy. Oh, did I forget? I also have this little piece here. Thought we'd have a corner pocket. So, where's our little corner pocket? Here. I've cut out one J8 and the one J16, but when I cut it out, I've reversed it or flipped it so that instead of facing that way, it's going to be facing that way. So that's the J8 and the J16. But we don't need to cut anything off that. That's just a little pocket. So we can put that to the side, and we'll just come back out again and cut off these little tabs. So I was saying about this album being able to be cut out of 6-inch paper. But the other thing about SVG files is that you can size the pieces up or down. So I could make this piece bigger if I wanted to, but I can also resize the whole album and make a large album or a smaller album. So this is the size it comes in is 7 inches by 7 inches with a 3-inch spine. I can't see that because of the light, so I'll just and this is why I have to put crosses on here, because otherwise I'd cut all the tabs off while I was talking. Yeah, this one is a 7-inch by 7-inch album with a 3-inch spine, but so for example in Cricut, I could put it all on the design canvas and all the pieces on the canvas and resize it so that the whole album is bigger. So it's like an 8-inch by 8-inch album or a 9-inch square album, for example. Okay, so I'm thinking I want to have this opening from this side, and then these little guys are going to come from the top and the bottom. So I'm going to round the corner, round the edges, round the corners. I'm going around the corners on these. I think rounded corners probably survive a little bit better. You know, they wear a bit better. But I didn't put them in the SVG files because I wanted to give you options. Okay, so I'm just going to ink up those bits that we've trimmed off. Like so. And on the other side. So I was pretty excited today. One of the ladies who have bought one of my SVG files and who is in my Facebook group. So if you're interested, the Facebook group is called Creativa Divas. So if you'd like to come and join up, please go for it. Anyway, she has already made an album using these Broderie SVG files, and she uploaded a video to YouTube of her album, and it was just awesome to see someone else who had made the album. So thank you very much. I think it's Sherry or Cherie, I'm not sure. I think it's Sherry, but thanks, Sherry. It was awesome to see your video, and it warmed my heart. So thank you, and you did a fabulous job. Okay, let's go. So, what was I going to do? Let's bring the album back. Okay, and we're doing this page here. So, my plan was to attach this onto here, like so. So let's just do it. We'll just worry about it later if it's not right. I mean, you can make all the plans you want. Sometimes they go astray, but you know, what do they say? That's just an opportunity for creativity. So I'm just going to slide that up in there, make sure that I'm happy with it sitting on that little edge bit there of our little pocket page. Yep. Okay. No, I can't find any of my pieces. Okay, I feel like that's pretty well stuck down. Now, these little guys, I'm going to have one coming from the top and one coming from the bottom. Right, now I know my page is 15 centimeters or 6 inches wide, so you can now cut on the ruler. So if I just put a mark at 3 here and 3 down here, that will help me to center these little guys, and these guys are 5 and 1 whatever. I'm going to look at it in centimeters. Okay, so it's like nearly 13. So let's say if we put it at 6, nearly 13 centimeters, just over 6. How's that? That would leave us with 1.3 there, maybe over a little squidge, and line that up. And I tell you what, I might just put a line there and there, and that will save us from worrying about that. And so I'm going to pop that one down. So I'll just line it up with those 2 little lines there. Feel like I'm happy with that. Let's see if I've got it at the top of the page. I don't think I have. Let's pull it up a little bit. Excuse me, I'm just going to lift it up so I can see the top. Come on, move. That Tiger Grip glue is gripped already. I might have to live with it. So what I want to know is that if I can bring it over here, as long as I can do that, I'm happy. Good. Okay. Now this one, I just need to line up at the bottom and with this one, like so. So let's do that. And so I'm just going to line that up at the bottom, and I'm lining it up with this piece up here as well on the sides. And press that down. Okay, so then when I open up, I can put this one in here, bring this one up, bring this one down. Lovely. And that is basically our page. What we need to do is start thinking about these little pockets and mats that I've got stashed over here. So on the inside here, we have this mat, right? And then we were going to put I was going to put this little corner pocket in here. So let's do that. Can we do that? Is it safe? Yes, I think it's safe. I really feel like you probably just spend the whole time watching me put mats on things. But, you know, I want you to be able to see what the page looks like. I could just say, put this piece here and put that piece there. But the other thing is that, you know, these are just my ideas of ways to use the pieces, and you might think of a whole bunch of other ways that you can use the pieces. So, you know, it just depends which tab you put off and where you put it. That's the beauty of it being versatile, you know. That you could make an album exactly the same as mine, or you could make a much more fancy album, or you could make a much more simple album. You could do all the pages the same, or you could do every page different. It's completely up to you. You could resize this so it was only a tiny little corner pocket, or you could have a little pocket on top of the big pocket. You know, there's so much you can do. The only thing to remember is anything that you resize, you have to remember to resize the mat as well, because there is nothing worse than resizing a piece and cutting it out and then realising that you hadn't resized the mat to the same size. I may or may not be speaking from experience. Alright, so there's our little corner pocket. Looks cute! Okay, and then we can just do some matting here as well. I can't remember what my plan was. I have these two to go on here, but I can't remember if I was going to have that one on there. I don't even know if I had a plan. Okay, so this little guy is going on here. And then I have these grey ones. So I think, yeah, let's go with this one on the front. That must have been my plan. Yes? So many decisions. Yes. I need to round the corner. And this one here. Okay, there's a big blob of glue in that corner. Now there's a big blob of glue on my hand. I would really like to know what people think of the ATG tape runner big things. So do people prefer to use those? Should I be having one of those? Would I like it better? Or should I just stick to my glue? I would love to know what your thoughts are about that, if you've got one. Alright, so now, so this bit of paper here is, I'm starting to worry a little bit that I might run out of the paper, the Kaiser Craft paper. So this is actually the index pages from an old atlas, and I just really like it because of the columns and lines. I think I like that. So I decided that I'm going to scatter a bit of this through the album as well, so that I think you'll also need something a little bit plainer occasionally, because otherwise the album can look a bit busy. And lately I've been loving this index paper. So then I'm going to do the same. I have to just move this one, sorry. I'm going to do the same with this piece here. Make sure I've got it up the right way. Put the corners here. So I think, you know, you could use book pages, this sort of index paper, music paper. I have a roll of paper from an old pianola roll. that I like to use. And what else could you use? You know, just to extend your designer or scrapbook paper. And I think it looks good. Okay, so that's those two flips that done there, and now this little guy on the side can go on here. So we just need to corner those, round those corners, corner those rounds. Like so, and then we can glue that one down. Glue. And pop this one on here. And where's my trusty little wipe? That's that one done. And I thought I might put that wee little pocket that I had, this one here. Thought I might put that little pocket on here. So I'll just attach the mat to that. This mat, this pocket was the little E3 pocket, I believe. E3, yes. So I'm just going to pop that on here. Good. And then I can just attach it to this page. And I think I want to put it down quite low because it's quite a deep pocket. So I'm feeling like I might like to put it maybe just a touch off the bottom, about there. So let's do that. And pop that on here, about there. Sure, why not? I'm going to line it up with the mat at the bottom. Wipe off my glue excess. Make sure it's stuck down nicely. And then all we need to do is flip that one over and mat these ones. And I'm just going to use the grey for that, and that's fairly non-directional, so it doesn't really matter which edges I corner. 1 and 2. And just sort those edges out on the corners, and then we'll just stick them down. Put that down on there. And flip it over and push it down on this side. Bone folder up here. You know, if I put everything back in where I got it from, I'm sure I could find it again if I got in the habit. So if I always put my bone folder in the same spot, which I won't, but I've heard that that can be helpful. And then this one on here. And this page is just about done. Super quick and easy. Got some pockets, got some flips. Okay, so that one's going to go like that. And then this one's going to come up from the bottom, and then this one's going to come up down from the top. Nice, but it's not going to stay closed, which is why I thought I would use this little pocket here, which is the F5 pocket, and I'm going to attach it down on here. So let's do it. Whoops. Glue all those tabs up. And I'm just going to sort of try and center it. And I think I'll line it up with that matte bit at the bottom again. Like so. Make sure it sticks down well. Get rid of that glue. That one there. Okay, and then we just put a little mat on there, which is non-directional, so I don't have to worry about which way that goes on. Non-directional paper is a blessing for people like me who put things on upside down all the time. So in the last video, when I was making the cover, I nearly put the mat on the front cover on sideways. Actually, that whole video was a bit of a comedy of errors. Watch it, have a laugh. Okay, so that's it, that's this page. So my plan when I make my inserts is that I will have an insert that will hold this all together. So I haven't made one yet, but let's just use this for an example. So we'll just slide in here, and if obviously it's going to be bigger than this one, but it will hold everything down like a lock. So that's the plan for that one. So we've done 2 pages already, and I think that that will be awesome. So here's our first page. We've got these little flips here, flip out again, and then we've got this belly band here. And our second page, when we pull the insert out, we've got flip up here, this big page here that then flips out as well, and we've got a pocket here, and we've got a corner pocket here, and of course we've got space at the top and the bottom for photos or anything we want to do there. So she looks a bit plain, Jane, because she's not embellished, and because it's quite plain paper. So it's going to be very interesting to embellish this one and see how I can make it a bit more jazzy. But I'm going to not use flowers, she says, because I'm trying to make this less flouncy. Okay, so thanks very much for joining me. I hope you stick around and have a look at the next pages that we do in the album. I hope give me a comment if there's anything, particularly if you can tell me about ATG, whether I need one in my life or not. Subscribe and give me a thumbs up, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Thanks for your time today. Bye bye.